It's a spectacular Saturday in the Valley of the Sun, and we're hoping for a spectacular race. The potential's certainly there. A tremendous field of cars and drivers ready to go 200 miles at Phoenix International Raceway, racing right into the heart of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season.
Today we have traveled nearly 2,000 miles from Daytona to the west. Phoenix International Raceway, where in many ways it's time for the real nationwide season to begin.
This is the grind. This is where the season starts.
Time for a little Saturday showdown in the Wild West.
A place where dreams can wilt in the heat.
Oh, no! Elliott Sadler into the wall!
Or rise from it.
Yeah, baby! Yeah!
Time for veterans to find new life. To once again make an impact.
Sam Hornish's first Nationwide Series win. The dominating performance by Kyle Busch. Absolutely incredible.
Time for newcomers to come into their own.
I am blown away by Travis Pastrana.
A lot of high expectations for Kyle Larson.
Time for the title contenders to step up and step apart. Now, the fun really starts.
Fight? Did somebody say fight at Phoenix? We'll see what happens between the green and checkered flags today as we get set to go racing in the NASCAR Nationwide Series second event of the season. Alan Bestwick, Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie. For those drivers that had trouble at Daytona last week, how do they push that big reset button?
Well, the racing here at Phoenix is going to be completely different than Daytona. You feel like you've got more control over your destiny when you come to a racetrack like this.
Yeah, and you understand, this is a long season. You put that behind you. You do everything that you can here to be consistent. You can fight right back into this with no problem.
Did somebody say fight? Oh, wait, that was last November. We'll see what happens today. But first, though, let's go trackside for the opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Carl Hayden High School Junior ROTC presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Phoenix International Raceway Chaplain Ken Bowers offers today's invocation.
Heavenly Father, in a moment we will be focusing on the track, but right now we want to direct our attention to you and thanksgiving for the blessed day you've given us at Phoenix International Raceway. We pray, O Lord, for safe racing, competitive racing, and an enjoyable time for all. We wouldn't forget to thank you for every blessing in life because you have been so wonderful to each one of us. For all these things we pray, and everyone said, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome national country music artist Kiera Lynn Ford.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And the drivers buckle in. We get ready to go racing today at Phoenix International Raceway. A tremendous star-filled field ready to take on this challenging layout remodeled just 2 years ago. And when you take a look back at last year's two NASCAR Nationwide Series races at this track, you get two remarkably different stories. In the race a year ago, March, just 3 caution flags. The race last November had 10 caution flags. What are we going to see today and why?
Well, I think the one we saw in March with just 3 is kind of a very unusual thing here at Phoenix. And the reason is because these restarts, when you do have a caution, they line them up double file. It's really hard for these cars to run too wide down into turn 1. And you see a lot of cautions after cautions. So I think you can expect to see quite a few.
Yeah, I think the number's going to be closer to that 10 than it will be to 3. And a lot of it because we have a great field of competition here today. Just stellar race drivers. That means close battling on the racetrack. When you get that, you see contact. Contact brings out caution. We're going to have a great race here today.
And when you see a field this close, you begin to wonder if the determining moment of the race won't happen not on the track, but on the pit lane.
Yeah, passing is very difficult here. It's very hard to make these clear, to make a pass and get clear. So the track position is so important in the pits that not just what you do in the pits, but the calls that is made on the top of the pit box can be the difference in who wins this thing. So it's a lot of pressure on the crew chiefs.
Yeah, it really is. And as a driver, you know you're only going to be on pit road a couple of times. Adjustments are going to be at a premium. You have to give really good information to your crew chief.
Going to be a very competitive, very interesting race. And the command to start engines at Phoenix comes up next.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Phoenix, presented by Kawasaki and the off-road rated Terex 4. And in part by Pizza Hut's new Big Pizza Sliders. Now that's how you make it great. And Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side.
A beautiful blue-skied 80-degree afternoon in the Desert Mountains southwest of downtown Phoenix as the NASCAR Nationwide Series gets set to go with race number 2 of this season. Our telecast today presented by Kawasaki. Just a moment or so before the command to start engines, Dave Burns is obviously there on the pit lane with a story. Hi, Dave.
To win today in Phoenix, Allen, you're going to have to beat the likes of Keselowski, Kenseth, Busch, Harvick, and Jimmy Johnson, in addition to the Nationwide Series regulars with multiple wins and years of experience in this series. In fact, this field represents over 200 Nationwide Series wins and 7 series championships. This will be fun to watch. Dr. Jerry Punch.
And Dave, one of the biggest unknowns here today are these brand new Goodyear tires that they developed here at a test last October. Now, this new left and right side tire has a different compound which adds more grip. Now, but the more grip you have, the more wear you get and the more give up over a long run. The last 2 races of here have been won by a team that just changed 2 tires late. All these teams know you can change 2 tires a day and gain track position, but will that be enough given the new wear here to hold on for the win? And that is the big unknown. Alan?
Going to be very interesting to see how those calls are made on that last pit stop, Doc, and when that last pit stop should come in this very quick 200-lap race around this 1-mile track. You see the drivers have finished buckling aboard, and the dignitaries are gathered trackside now to give the command to start engines and get this thing underway.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Dylan Wofat from Hawaii 5-0, Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat Legacy, and the chairman from Iron Chef America, Mark Dacascos.
Drivers, start your engines!
All right, let's crank it up when you're ready. Engine. And 4. How you doing there, Eddie?
Nothing wrong with a little style there. And you look at this beautiful field of cars sitting along the pit lane, getting ready to roll out onto the Phoenix International Raceway and get going momentarily. Should be a fun one. Want you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy during the afternoon. You can watch all the race coverage live from Phoenix International Raceway, including HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard. Better yet, do it while you watch the telecast. Check it out, NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Our ESPN in-race reporter today, you heard from him just a little bit ago in NASCAR Countdown, a man who went to victory lane here, the first race after this track was remodeled over the summer of 2011. Sam Hornish Jr. driving the then yellow Penske 12, got the jump on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on a late restart and ran the distance from there to score his first Nationwide Series victory. Sam goes in pursuit of win number 2 today. We talk to him next. Beautiful shot of the skyline of downtown Phoenix from the racetrack. We are a little bit south and west of there. And right in the foothills of these beautiful desert mountains where you see the cars have rolled out onto the racetrack, and we're getting set for race number 2 of this NASCAR Nationwide Series season. those contending who have declared for the Nationwide Series Championship and how they came through Daytona last week. Sam Hornish Jr. is the championship leader. Yeah, I know it's only one race in, but this is the first time Sam has ever led a championship in NASCAR. And by the way, coming back to the site of his first win in the series, and our ESPN in-race reporter for the day.
Hey, Sam, it's Dale Jarrett with ESPN. Thanks for talking with us today. And first question comes from our mailbag, and Bob in Burbank, California asked, after leaving Daytona with the points lead, how confident are you coming to a track you've won at before?
Well, I was pretty confident coming into it, but our practices yesterday didn't go quite as well as we'd like to, and we've been working on getting our car handled just the way that we need to. But all in all, I got a lot of confidence in my team. All these guys that work on the 12 car, really do a good job for us. Pit crew's going to do a great job for us today. We're going to have a good day, so confidence level's up. We got a good start to the season. We're going to try to keep it rolling.
Sam, knowing you didn't get the car exactly like you wanted in practice yesterday, and knowing you're not going to be on pit road that many times if all goes well today, does that put a little more pressure in trying to get the right information to your crew chief to where he can make those adjustments in just the few stops you're going to have?
Well, we've always got a lot of pressure on us, but at the end of the day, I believe that we've done a lot of work in the offseason to try to get everything exactly the way we need it to be, as far as the dialogue and the chat back and forth between me and the guys on the box. So we're going to do the best that we can as far as that goes, and just really excited about our opportunity today. This is one of my favorite tracks, and looking to have another good run here. Want to thank Nationwide Insurance for what they do for us, and all the people at Detroit Genuine Parts for being on our car this week.
All right, Sam, thanks for talking with us. Have a great day now. And he's going to talk to that guy on the box for you, your crew chief, Greg Irwin.
Hey, Greg Irwin, Andy Petrie up in the booth. You're calling the race now in the Nationwide Series. It's got to be a little different than some of the races you've called over in the Sprint Cup garage. We also have a new tire here. Is that going to change the way you call this race?
Andy, we're doing our best to get this thing sorted out. We got number 12 cars digging pretty good. The wears are a little bit different than what we've seen historically here on this repave, left side to right side wear. So we're going to have to wait and see what this first set of tires looks like these Goodyears when we pull them off, and then make try and make the right decision for the end of the show.
Okay, well, good luck making the right decisions. We'll keep an eye on you. Maybe talk to you later. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. All right, man.
About a half a lap from the green flag. Austin Dillon is carrying our AdvoCare on board today as we take a look through our ESPN high-definition cameras. Jimmy Johnson in the field with our Chevy on board. Trevor Bain's got the Goodyear camera. Elliott Sadler, the Nationwide Insurance camera. Sam Hornish Jr. is the Ford EcoBoost on board. Kevin Harvick, the American Ethanol camera. Kyle Busch, the Nationwide Insurance camera. And Parker Kligerman with our Toyota on board. 200 laps, 200 miles around this racetrack. At least 2 pit stops, probably a third. And the question is, in this early going anyway, based on qualifying, will anyone keep up with Kyle Busch? He was fast in time trials. That's Kyle in the black and white 54 leading this field down to the green. There's the first of the shortcutters.
Didn't take long to answer that question, did it?
Oh, Justin Allgaier wiggling and wobbling. That's Travis Pastrana up out of the groove in 4.
Yeah, this racetrack's been sitting for a while, and it's a very hot day out here. I'm sure that these first few laps are going to be extremely slick for these drivers. These are tires they qualified on. This was an impound race, so they haven't been able to do anything much to the cars since those qualifying laps.
Yeah, the track has lost some grip since it's been repaved, but they have come back. Goodyear has with a better tire, a little softer tire, but it's still hot and slick out there today.
This little Hornet's nest is from 6th place on back. No trouble. Johanna Long, Jamie Dick, 55, and more.
Yeah, Sam Hornish involved in that also, I believe. I think he'll have some front end damage.
99, Alex Bowman. Had that terrific run at Daytona a week ago. And there is Jamie.
Hit wall right in front of you, man.
Yeah, that's too bad for Jamie Dick. He's had a good qualifying run the last 2 weeks. This team's trying to get off the ground. Looks like Johanna Long's got some damage in the front they'll have to address.
damage.
Get down below the yellow line. Get down below.
Yeah, Pastrana's got quite a bit of right side damage. And the nose of Sam Hornish. Ooh, that's Johanna Long, first one to go. Yeah, and
Pastrana right behind her.
Pastrana. I wonder just how slick that racetrack is coming off for. It's almost like there was something on the track, or actually they could have been just a little bit high coming off that corner. That was kind of odd, wasn't it? Those two cars. Pastrana did it the lap before he was out of the groove. Well, good for the first caution wave today at Phoenix. Back live at Phoenix, NASCAR Nationwide Series Racing today, presented by Kawasaki. And as we dig deeper into this incident that brought out the first caution and has claimed about 5 cars worth of damage, there's a little more to it than first meets the eye as they continue to try and repair Sam Hornich's car and haul off some of the others too badly damaged to continue.
As they go down the back straightaway, Hornish makes a pass on Johanna Long here. See, Sam gets out of the gas, but Johanna Long gets into him pretty hard here.
Which leads shortly thereafter to that.
Man, I don't know what we can do there. Frickin' drives into us one lap and then crashes right in front of us the next one.
And I'm not sure that she didn't maybe knock a hole in the radiator there. And you could see her car, she was trying to turn, but as it came out, so it could have been putting water down. We saw Travis Pastrana go in there too. So,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because we saw a lot of cars really getting squirrely behind this wreck. We didn't know what it was, like maybe something on the track, but very possibly could have been a busted radiator in that 70. Obviously, we'll effort a word with Johanna. And it could have been what put her in the wall, too.
Yes.
And while we follow up on that story back in the garage area, Dave has been following Sam Hornish's repairs on the pit lane.
History, Greg Irwin has not spent a lot of time on this Nationwide car, but the instructions are pretty universal. Don't block up the front end air intake while you work on repairing that front end. Get all the things that are hanging away from the tires and the suspension area. The good news is that Sam reports that he has water, oil, and fuel pressure, so nothing was punctured as far as the fluid delivery system in that 12 car. Jamie?
That's good news for him, Dave. And updating a couple other stories, the man running fourth right now, Trevor Bayne, last week at Daytona, they're coming off a 31st place finish after a mechanical failure. This team desperately wants to turn things around. Remember, their focus is big picture. He's running every race this year, going for the championship. Now, he's in a good car. This is the same one that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished third with at both races here last year. So far, so good, but a good points day is what they're looking for. Vince?
Well, after finishing 21st at Daytona last week, Austin Dillon is looking forward to a return to the front here at Phoenix. Crew Chief Danny Stockman says the key to a good run today is having the car good at the beginning of the race, so they're not spending those pit stops playing catch-up. They get the car better. The good news is from Austin in that initial report, feels good. Doc?
And Vince, Travis Pastrana now back in for the third time during this yellow flag. Damage to the right side of the car. They changed right side tires. They trimmed the right front of the splitter off the car. They're putting bearer bond back down on hold. It's in the right fender, between the fender and the deck lid in the rear spoiler. And Travis said also the steering toe is not in line. It's knocked out of tow, but they don't have time to fix it. They're going to try to get the bearer bond on and send him back out and fix it again, maybe later in the race if possible. Alan?
Hi, Doc. So a race for 15th position results in 5 cars with some pretty significant damage and the first yellow flag of today's race here at Phoenix. The Dollar General 200, fueled by AmeriGas, is under caution, and we'll be back for the restart in a minute. If it's as pretty where you are today as it is here in Phoenix, you are lucky. As we welcome you back to the NASCAR Nationwide Series from the Valley of the Sun, our telecast today presented by Kawasaki. Race fans, check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch all the race coverage today live from Phoenix, including HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard. While they continue to clean up a rather sizable liquid spill all the way around the racetrack, Mark Hollywood Armstrong waits down in the pit lane to change front tires for Parker Kligerman's 77 Toyota today. Hollywood, you're only going to get your hands on that race car a couple times today.
This might just happen a couple of times, but we talked about it in our team meeting. Hey, it could be 2 tires, it could be 4. We'll make that decision when they hit pit road. It's a little bit hot down here, but hey, we're ready for it, and we're ready to go to battle today.
There you go, Hollywood. Have a great day down there. We'll keep an eye on you.
Thank you, guys.
Focal point around the beginning of this first caution was contact with Sam Hornish and Johanna Long. Long getting into the wall, exiting 4 after that contact. So let's check downstairs.
Alan, Johanna has been released from the infield care center. You appear to be okay. Johanna, what was going on with the race car and with you and Sam on the track?
I got in a little too hot, worrying about the guy in front of me, making sure that I got in way too hot. Didn't mean to get into him. Everywhere that happens all the time, you know, I didn't mean to, but my car just got really tight. I don't really know what happened. Shattered to the right front really bad, getting into 1, and couldn't really get off the corner. Going to 3, picked up the throttle, and it just took off on me. I hated it happened for my guys. We worked extremely hard all weekend to get this car as good as we can get it, and it was a really fast car. Felt like we had a top 15 going for us, and hate it.
You had so much optimism going into 2013. How do you recover from this?
Just going to another race. You know, I hate it. It really stinks for us because, you know, we only get 21 races here, but we just have to go and I have to give everything I got in Vegas.
You know how hard the ML Motorsports crew will work, Alan, just like they all do when these things happen.
Yeah. So interesting follow-up there from Johanna as well.
Yeah, I have to really agree with Dale. What really made this situation way worse was that when she made that contact with Sam getting into 3, it pierced that radiator and probably put water onto her tires, and as she got in the wall, came across a lot of other guys, and you can see some of the other cars behind her also slipping around.
Sometimes in these accidents, things happen that are a little on the odd side. They've had Sam Hornish's car on the pit lane this time because there was a transponder, scoring transponder from apparently from the car that he hit in the chain reaction, Jamie Dick's car, the 55, that was stuck in the grill of the 12. So each time Sam made a lap, Jamie Dick got credit for a lap, I guess. But NASCAR timing and scoring on top of that, obviously. And
yeah, that is strange. Those transponders are mounted on the rear frame section. And I guess Sam got into the back of his car and maybe picked that thing up, stuck in the nose.
Does he have to give him part of the money for what he gets?
They obviously have several redundant scoring systems on these cars. And in fact, while they got that transponder dislodged from Sam's car, if I have the report I was just given correct, he did lose a lap, but because it was to dislodge that transponder and not basically their own work, NASCAR's giving him that lap back now, and that's why you see him passing the field, and he'll get sent by the pace car and come back around.
That's fair enough. I wonder what he was passing all the cars for.
It wasn't just for giggles.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, but there's a lot of nice guys out there. So.
Might be getting sent around that pace car again, too, so we'll keep an eye on that. While we're still working to set the field for the restart, reminds you, got a don't-miss Pac-12 battle tonight as Mark Lyons and the Wildcats take that tough road test against Shabazz Muhammad and the Bruins. Saturday prime time, part of Bracket Builder Week. It's Arizona UCLA tonight on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. College game day out at Pauley Pavilion earlier today, and that should be a good one. So early wreck here has given this race a somewhat off-the-pace start. And Travis Pastrana back on pit road again. I believe this is for the 4th time getting repairs made on that Ford Mustang. Remember, separate incidents at the start.
Yeah, he hit this wall pretty hard coming off 4. You see right there, climbed up on it with both right side tires.
And so Pastrana rejoining now as the field is doubled up for the restart. Sam Hornish Jr. will be 1 lap down and will start at the end of the field for pitting too soon. He did come in before the pit lane was open. Pastrana, after all of those stops, did remain on the lead lap. And now we get back to the action, which, before we even got a chance to talk about it much, sees Joe Gibbs Racing 1, 2, and 3 at the front of this field for the start and as they get ready for the restart. 55 24, Kyle Busch. 18, Matt Kenseth. 20, Brian Vickers.
Yeah, Brian Vickers there in that 20 car. He finished second out here last fall, so that was kind of the first race and foreseeing of what was to come with this race team as he signed on.
Let's see if we can go more than 2 laps here.
Tough. It's a slick racetrack right now. Trying to go double file, as Andy talked about, can be difficult down into turn 1.
And off turn 4, as we saw. Busch does such a good job on these restarts. I mean, just look at the space he created in just 1 lap.
Yeah, I think we're already seeing something that may play out later on here. That inside lane is going to be the preferred lane. You know, you might be in second place, but have a caution late in the race. Starting on that outside is not going to be much fun.
5th place, changing hands. 31, Justin Allgaier. By 3, Austin Dillon. There's Kevin Harvick, 33. And Regan Smith in the 7 right behind him.
Looks like Austin Dillon's fighting a loose condition. He was really sideways off turn 4 last lap.
And of course, 43 is Eric Almirola in the Richard Petty Motorsports Ford this week. Our thoughts with Michael Annett as he recovers from that dislocated and fractured sternum that he suffered in that wicked crash at Daytona, the second to last crash. Michael undergoing surgery this week, and understand, according to Doc Punch, that he's doing well, and glad to hear.
You see Regan Smith there battling. Really wanted to see how he would come back this week after being literally, he could see the checkered flag up there, but he was looking more in his mirror trying to make a block on Brad Keselowski at Daytona. Had to be disappointing for them, but this team really is doing a lot of good things.
Matt Kenseth on the move, 18, going for second.
These 2 weeks, Joe Gibbs Racing brings a powerful lineup whenever they throw Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Brian Vickers, and Elliott Sadler on the racetrack. Anyone could win at any time.
So Jimmy Johnson driving the Junior Motorsports 5 here this week. Brad Keselowski to his outside in the Penske 22. Jimmy making a very, very rare Nationwide Series start. Was in 1 at Watkins Glen, and then it was back like 4 years ago to the last time he ran the Nationwide car.
And who's he find himself racing against? Brad Keselowski, same guy he raced for the championship last year.
And I asked Jimmy, yeah, sorry, Andy. I asked Jimmy on Monday up in Bristol, Connecticut, you know, why are you running this? And he said, you know, when they changed the track, he said, I just have not gotten the feel that I need to make this work. He said, and I don't know if it's, you know, me as a driver, things I need to work on or things I need to find in the car. And he's got Chad working with him there also.
Said he needed reps, and he's going to get 200 of them today. Johnson fighting with Regan Smith there for 9th and 10th. You see his Sprint Cup Series results since this track was reconfigured. Only once better than 14th. How about this car today, Vince?
Pretty good for Jimmy Johnson right now in this 5 team, and Mike Baumgartner is the crew chief on that car, and as you noted, Chad Knaus on the box as well. And I talked to Jimmy after practice yesterday, after the 2 practice sessions. He said, I've learned a lot because everything is so new to me. He said, how it's going to translate to the Cup car on Sunday, I'm not real sure, but all I do know is when I've gotten out of the Nationwide car and gone and gotten in the Cup car for practice, I've been fast, so something's working. I just don't know what it is yet.
Now Jimmy Johnson sitting now in 9th position after getting by Regan Smith, but Brad Keselowski getting away from him just a little bit. Well, after the field has sorted out from both the initial start and the first restart, one thing's been consistent. Kyle Busch in the lead. Only driver out in front so far today.
Start your engines!
Well, it was a little rough start to today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Phoenix. 5-car pileup just a couple of laps into the race. Left some feathers ruffled and some fenders rumbled as well. No such troubles for Kyle Busch, though. Back aboard Joe Gibbs Racing Machinery in the NASCAR Nationwide Series this season, and Kyle has led all of the laps so far, although we're still very early today here in Phoenix. Of the drivers involved in that first accident, Johanna Long, Alex Bowman, and Jamie Dick's cars are in the garage area being worked on. Travis Pastrana's 4 laps down in 34th place, but Sam Hornish Jr., I forget that it takes the scoring a lap to catch up. He was back on the lead lap at that last restart, and he has made the most of it since the green flag.
Yeah, he's gained a ton of spots. I watched his lap times. It looks like he's fairly competitive. He's back in the pack a little bit. Now, it usually costs you a tenth or two, but his lap times look pretty good, so I'm not too worried about the damage you see on his car.
Yeah, he started 19th. That's where he's running right now. So other than some bent-up fenders and some work on the race car, he's okay right now. But as you said, it looks like the lap times are pretty decent for him.
Even though the car doesn't look all that good.
I know some fans just, it kind of rubs them the wrong way when you talk championship, just 1 or 2 races into the season, right? But we have seen with these championships how points, just a few of them, can make a difference. These guys came away from Daytona with the championship lead. If you give all that back at Phoenix by not going out there, fixing this car and getting all the spots you can, you might miss those points when you come back to Phoenix in November.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is every single race counts. They don't have a chase. They don't have a cutoff. And every one of these things pays the same amount of points.
Yeah, that's the key, is you have to realize that every race does count. As you said, you have to start from the beginning if you're thinking about winning this championship, and every race matters.
Kyle Busch leading all the laps so far.
What openings on the nose for brakes do you have?
There's 2 3-inch holes. The top one's half open to the caliper. The bottom is 2 inches open to the rotor.
Cover the bottom ones. Cover them up. Solid.
10-4, you got some chatter?
Yeah, I got brake shake, but I'm not using them. That's why. I'm using like no brake.
Yeah, you hear him talking about the cooling for the brakes, and you think, well, if he's having brake problems, they probably need to cool them more, but that's not the case. These brakes really like to operate at a pretty high temperature, and if they're not there, they'll actually shake through the pedal, and that's what I think Kyle's feeling here.
I think we figured out why he's leading all the laps. He's not using the brakes.
If you got a car that will drive like that around here.
Yeah. And Kyle Busch is one that doesn't use a lot of brake anyway. That's kind of what people at Joe Gibbs Racing have told me over the years, what makes him fast at a lot of places we go.
New 4th place runner, Kevin Harvick, 33 by Trevor Bayne. Harv sneaking toward the front. And somebody here at Phoenix you had better keep an eye on.
Yeah, they didn't seem like they were all that happy with practice. I mean, it wasn't going like it was for Kyle Busch. His practice sessions went really well. They still, when you got Kevin Harvick driving your car here at Phoenix, you know that you've got a chance to get the car where you need to be, and if you do, you're going to have a chance to win.
Kevin Harvick's becoming more and more like Mark Martin, I think, every day. Whenever he's not very happy with his car, that's when you better watch out the most for him. How about it, Doc?
Yeah, he wasn't happy when the race began. Also, he had a little stomach flu. Wasn't feeling good when he got in the car. He said initially, DJ, the car was very loose coming up off 3 and 4. He couldn't drive it, but it's gotten better and better. And now he's feeling better and running better in that 33 car, making his way toward the front.
Yeah, it's amazing when you run better how much better you'll feel, too, physically.
Yeah. One related to the other. Kevin Harvick with wins in all 3 NASCAR National Series here at Phoenix, including the Sprint Cup Series race here last November when that 29 was first to the checkered flag.
One thing to watch for, I talked to some people in crew chiefs in the garage area, was that this new tire is to watch how the run goes and see how some of these setups will play into a short run setup where the car's fast for a little while and then kind of fades at the end. And you can set your car up for the long run, but you have to give up some of that speed at the beginning of the run. So I'm kind of watching for that and see who might be good at the end of this longer run.
As they start getting the lap traffic, too, one thing I'm watching is they're having to dodge this lap traffic. Some of them are going to the bottom, giving them the outside. Others are moving up, and they're having to go to the bottom. So they're really having to pay attention as they catch this lap traffic.
Watching 2nd and 3rd there.
Car spinning over in 3 and 4.
One looping around down the bottom of the racetrack. 92 car, Dexter Stacy, and the caution is out for a 2nd time. The youngster from Canada who was unable to qualify at Daytona last week and has put us under the yellow flag with what looked to be a fairly harmless loop around down the bottom.
Uh-oh, is that Brad Keselowski that was right behind him? Is there any contact?
That's just kind of what I was talking about right there. You know, I'm sure that Brad expected him to move down there, and looked like he stayed up. I don't know if he had to correct a little bit. Yeah, Brad just carrying a lot more speed, and looked like he might have just got into the back. Hard to tell from that angle if there was contact or if he just got in a little hot trying to get out of the way maybe.
So second yellow flag is out, and we're 39 laps in. This is from Austin Dillon.
Watching. Spinning, just watching. 5-foot gear. Come on. There you go. Good job. Caution's out.
Jimmy Johnson bumper tag there. So caution out here. I was starting to say 38 laps in, 39 laps now. Probably see some pit stops here.
Yeah, this would be a good opportunity for everybody to get in the pits, and then it would be an opportunity for us to see what they're going to do, whether they're going to change these 2 tires or change 4 tires. The one thing that they're going to look at is how much fall off they've seen since the start of the race, and that's kind of how they make their decisions. Here they come. We'll find out what they're doing.
Stick with Dave.
Matt Kenseth will be the first to show their hand. His car is about too tight, but it gets better as it goes, and he needs front grip. It'll be a track bar and air pressure adjustment, 2 right side tires only. Dr. Punch?
Kevin Harvick very loose, as I mentioned, coming up all 4. They're going to change right side tires, 1.5 rounds on the track bar, and they'll top it off with Sunoco fuel. Jamie.
Crew Chief Adam Stevens asked Kyle Busch, do you want any changes? He said, negative Ghost Rider, loves the car the way it is. Fill it up with Sunoco fuel. They'll put those right side tires on. Remember, Kyle Busch back in a Joe Gibbs racing machine, and he's getting passed by the competition. He gives up 3 positions, Alan.
Had a little alignment problem there in his pit stall, looked like, Jamie.
Yeah, it looked like he went right through the pit stall, had to back up.
Saw some left side only tire changes there. Saw some right side only tire changes there. All under caution after this incident.
In front of you, stay low. Good job, caution.
5-time champ, Jimmy Johnson. Coming back for the restart at Phoenix with Matt Kenseth and Brian Vickers now first and second, and Kyle Busch back in 23rd after problems on his pit stop and a speeding penalty on the pit lane. Kenseth gets clear for the lead. Vickers behind him, 20 in second. Harvick third. Allgaier fourth. Keselowski fifth. It's Brian Scott in the deuce with Trevor Bayne, Almirola, Parker Kligerman, 77, stacked up behind him. They're working on Jimmy Johnson in the 5.
Yeah, and the car just in front of that, the 32 of Kyle Larson, saw him pass 3 cars going in and exiting turn 4.
Oh, there's that tough angle into the corner that they were talking about on Countdown. Rusty and Ricky and Brad, and a little contact there. Almirola and Bayne.
Come here if you want.
It's really hard to drive off of turn 4, off of either of these corners. If you're side by side, both cars powered up, not to get a little bit of contact.
I talked to Trevor Bayne, and he was saying how important it was to have a car that will get going on the restart. And that's what he needs right here, is a car that'll really go for the first 5 or 10 laps, because he expected to see a lot of cautions, and he needs a car that'll get going.
Kyle Busch has gotten going on this restart because he restarted a lot further back in traffic than he was before. He started 23rd on this restart. He's up now to 15th, trying to pick his way forward. And let's go back and show and tell what happened to Kyle on the pit stop initially that set him back. So he overshoots the box. They have to back up and service the car then. Now, overshooting the pit box, Kyle was the fast qualifier and picked the first stall in line for today's race. The problem is that's not the first stall on pit road.
Did they cut the #1 pit stall back a stall? Yeah, all year. There is no #1 all year. That's what killed me. I did not expect that. Sorry. All right.
We'll make a race of it. Who cares? Let's get it.
Now, when NASCAR cut the fields in the Nationwide Series from 43 to 40 cars, one of the adjustments they made, that very first stall on pit road, not used for the Nationwide races. So the #1 pit stall, when you are the pole winner and you pick that, is actually the second one from pit exit. Why would they do that? Well, the stationing of officials and equipment and so on, you'd rather squeeze everything together in the center than have extra people and have gaps in that line on the pit road. And a new leader.
Brian Vickers to the front. Don't think this is any surprise. A lot of people in the garage area were talking about Brian Vickers' car being really good throughout the day, but it had speed and it was even really good on the longer runs.
Remember, Brian Vickers made his first start for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Nationwide Series. Here, oh, trouble. Joe Nemechek.
Guys, he just wrecked us.
And some pretty good damage to the back.
How bad is it, Joe? Oh, it's got the rear clip up off the ground. Yeah, I can see the deck is stuck up. The spoiler looks like it's laying back. Looking at the TV. Looks like we can't fix that on pit road.
Well, Joe Nemechek racing for 18th position. And now with a very bent-up race car. And it may have something to do with that little shortcut across the dogleg down the backside of the racetrack.
And Nelson Piquet running down on the apron through the dogleg and just did not have the angle. We heard Rusty Wallace talking about that in the countdown show, how you just, when you use that dogleg or the apron under the dogleg, the angle is all wrong, and he just got right in the left rear jump.
Yeah, the car was loose. He was having to correct it. You could see the wheels actually turned to the right a little bit as he clipped the apron. And they'll use the apron some to get their car turned. But as you pointed out, bad angle, nothing to do but run into the car beside you. You have that responsibility. If you're going to take that shortcut back there, it's your responsibility. As you get down to 3, you know you don't have the angle to stay off of the car.
Now that is a very tough break for Joe, and you saw Mike Wallace maybe get a little piece of the damage there when Piquet wrestled his car back under control. Some contact there. Quarter distance into the race. Yellow flag out for the 3rd time. I think you're right. We may be heading closer to that 10 total than the 3 of this race a year ago where yellows are concerned. Doubled up for the restart here in Phoenix. Let's see, we started with the ocean and palm trees in Daytona. We've got the cactus and the desert mountains today in Phoenix. And next week, the Strip in Vegas. NASCAR Nationwide Series on the super fast 1.5 Las Vegas Motor Speedway next Saturday at 4 Eastern Time, presented by Kawasaki, ESPN2, and live on Watch ESPN. A lot of twists at the finish of those Vegas races, and we'll see what happens next weekend. Brian Vickers now the leader just before the caution flag, and while we were documenting the Kyle Busch story and what happened to him, here was the courtesy exchange.
Yeah, letting Brian Vickers lead a lap here, get that point. He battles for a championship this season. Matt Kent's got nice guy.
Looks like he wants to keep it.
Joe Gibbs Racing teammates there. So now, as the leader, Vickers chooses the inside lane for this restart. By the way, Kyle Busch in 13th position, restarted 23rd at that last green flag. Kevin Harvick all over the back bumper of Vickers. 33 car looking to make some traction.
Keselowski to the high side to take that 2nd spot.
Kevin, see those gloves kind of busy in that windshield.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Brian Vickers was all that happy with Kevin the way he took that spot. He was really kind of all over his rear bumper as he went through 1 and 2.
Yeah, I didn't see Vickers really spin the tires. It looked like he got off to a pretty decent start, but Harvick was all over his rear bumper all the way down to turn 1. Justin Allgaier using that shortcut once again. See if he can hold it down.
And does, and gets a spot. Justin Allgaier with a very solid day going in that 31 car. Here comes Kyle. Kyle on Kyle, actually. Kyle Busch 54, Kyle Larson 32.
Just continue to be impressed with Kyle Larson. We expect this from Kyle Busch, certainly. But Kyle Larson's been very impressive in this race car. And I know we're only 2 races in this season, but you just see he has a tremendous amount of talent. Really getting the most out of this car.
Kyle Busch now moving up to 7th spot. Kyle Larson in 8th, Vince.
Well, the one thing that Trent Owens says about Kyle Larson, despite his lack of experience in any type of stock car, he has a tremendous feel for all 4 corners of the car. He understands what he's supposed to feel, what feels right, what doesn't feel right, and more than anything else, he feels all the right things. And Trent Owens and this Turner Scott Motorsports team continues to be impressed with the performance and the maturity of Kyle Larson.
And Vince, while we watch Jimmy Johnson work on Larson there for a spot, I remember a long time ago Ray Evernham telling me what Jeff Gordon did best for him. He said Jeff might not be able to tell me whether to change a shock or a spring on the car at that point, but Jeff could always direct me to the corner of the car that I needed to work on for him to go faster and get the feel he wanted.
Yeah, and Andy, that's really invaluable for a crew chief to get that type of information from your driver as to where you can work and put your thought process in place there as to changes you need to make.
Yeah, you don't need a guy that knows exactly what part or what thing to change, but when he knows when he doesn't have what he needs and can tell you how to get it and which end of the car needs help, that's what you need.
You can see him hold off Jimmy Johnson right there. He didn't let Johnson get that spot even though he had the inside. Speaking of the inside, here comes Eric Almirola in that 43, taking the spot away. Austin Dillon.
Austin Dillon has slipped back quite a bit from where he took the green flag in this race, and now he's all the way back to 14th place.
Yeah, there was a little jam up on that last restart, and Austin Dillon was part of that. What happens a lot of times here at Phoenix, and this is the 3 cars, they come down here to the start. It actually accordions ahead. You see somebody maybe just hiccup just a little bit, and as it does, you can see all of these cars start jamming up and making contact.
Now Dillon now started in 6th position, and again finds himself back outside the top 10 in 14th.
Trouble, we'll knock the radiator in on that restart, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he hit hard enough that he probably thought he could have gotten a contact with the radiator. It looks like it's fine right now, but definitely did rearrange the nose.
Watching Dillon at work there, Doc.
Yeah, got his hands full right now. He said on the radio a moment ago, guys, we got no traction, no side back coming up off the corner. He said, so we're dropping back. Meanwhile, the guy in front of him, the 43 car a minute ago, Eric Almirola, said the car is so much better after the adjustments on that first pit stop. He said, I'm on my way. This is a good race car today.
Well, if he's on his way, he's going to have to get going because Kyle Busch has already moved back into the top 5 after restarting in 23rd position back at lap 44. And look at him. He's charging.
This isn't because a lot of people pitted last time either. Yeah, he's really passed all of these cars. Just incredible how fast this car is.
Going to work on Justin Allgaier for 4th. What was it that Kyle said? Well, we'll make a show out of it.
Well, yeah.
It's not going to last very long.
The show is, yeah, can he get back to the lead by lap 100? Little things you just see Kyle get that car. You can see it twitch a little bit. He can drive it pretty free, but he just twitches a little bit, but he doesn't lose that speed that we see others do. I can't imagine, Jamie, he's complaining about this car much.
Not at all, DJ. He's very happy with it, been in a great mood all day. Having that setback of the speeding penalty could have been to his advantage. While a lot of these cars ahead of him actually took right sides only, he came in and got left sides as well, so he has 4 new tires on that car. Remember, though, about Kyle, it has been 18 months since he has been to victory lane in the Nationwide Series. Perhaps that'll break today.
It's hard to believe, but man, it's one of as many Nationwide Series races. It's been 18 months. But he's now back in one of these Gibbs prepared cars, and you can see the difference.
You know, something else that might be showing us a difference. He got 4 tires on this race car versus all of these other guys with 2. We could be seeing something that's going to show these other teams that he already had the fastest car, but now he's got 2 more better tires than what they have. So could open some eyes on pit road.
Second longest winless streak in his Nationwide Series career. Of course, much documented last year driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports, the team he started just before the beginning of last season. But this year coming back to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Nationwide Series, and had one of the contenders to win last week at Daytona until they had some problems in the late going. Now, after leading the opening 40 laps of this race, getting tagged for speeding on pit road on a stop at lap 40, going back to 23rd for the restart, Kyle is up into 4th position and trying to close on his Joe Gibbs Racing teammates. We're out in front of him, plus Brad Keselowski.
Approaching halfway at Phoenix with the Ram Race rundown, getting you caught up on what you have missed. We said that this might be race one to really get a good idea of what to expect, and Travis Pastrana was one of the drivers we were looking at, though not really a good chance to do it.
Yeah, we're going to be watching his resume all season long, and obviously coming into Phoenix, we wanted to see what he was able to do on a short track. Early trouble, banged up the right rear of that race car. It's going to be a long day for him.
Then an issue between the 70 and the 12. Johanna Long in the 70, getting into the back of Sam Hornish Jr. The next lap, trouble.
Oh, yeah, you see Sam right here. Johanna spins in front of him. He gets clobbered, tears the front end all off the car. He's all upset about it, but they got the car patched back up, and he's actually doing pretty good right now. He's moving up the field. He's 16th at the moment, but the car looks to be okay on the racetrack, even with that nose damage.
Johanna is out of the race, said she just made a mistake. Just got into the corner a little bit too deep. Meanwhile, the dog leg, Ricky, you said this was a place to watch, and here's why.
We talked about it in countdown. If you go into the dog leg, take the shortcut, you got to slow down. If you don't slow down, you're going to drift up the racetrack. In this case, he drifts into Joe Nemechek.
So that's what's happening with some of the guys who've had trouble. Some of the drivers who aren't having trouble, you see them right there. Matt Kenseth and Brad Keselowski. How about Joe Gibbs Racing? Very strong.
Very strong, no doubt about that. You know, I talked to Matt Kenseth. He felt real good about his car. Obviously, Kyle Busch is strong. And look at Vickers. But I got to tell you guys, it's hard to look at that 22 car and not think it's a Dodge. It's a Ford this year with Penske Racing. And Brad's picked up where he left. He's always in the top 5, always running good.
Hard to look at the 18 car and not think that there's Kyle Busch.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, the Joe Gibbs Racing cars look very, very strong. Kevin Harvick looks strong. I mean, all of your big guys are up front, really battling it out. Let's get to the end of this race, see what happens. So I'm interested.
We talked about getting back to fundamentals. Hit your mark. Turn, rotate, up off the corner straight so you don't burn the rear tires off. That's what these drivers' objective is, and also giving good information to their crew chief. Back to work, boys.
Fundamentals, Alan, also important because, as we said earlier, this kind of feels like the first race of the regular season.
Well, it's certainly the first race of what will be the dominant part of the schedule, with just the 3 restrictor plate races for the Nationwide Series during the year, and this is what they'll do most of. And Joe Gibbs Racing looking like they're doing it better than anyone so far today, with 3 of the top 4, and certainly Kyle Busch making an impressive charge after being back to 23rd position after the hiccup on the pit stop earlier, when he overshot his pit, actually thinking he was going to the pit next one down instead of the one he had to stop in. Look at that scoring serial. March, march, march to the front.
He just doesn't waste any time whenever he catches these cars. He's able just to make a pass. Now, obviously, as he gets closer to the front, this 22 and 18 may be more difficult, but I think that he just gets such a run off the corner, it's not going to be any problem. Nobody's going to present a problem for him at this point of the race.
Yeah, I think he knew just how good a race car he had, and you can see Brad Keselowski knows how good it is, too. He just waved him by, but he wasn't too worried about being able to make up those spots.
Yeah, there were a lot of people in the garage area yesterday that were talking about that this 54 car was kind of in a class by themselves. Now, they say that a lot of times, and they go make adjustments, and they can get closer to him, but they were exactly right in this case.
He won the pole by 0.2 of a second over the second-place car. On a mile track, NASCAR competition this era, that 0.2 of a second is a ton. So if you put 0.2 of a second a lap, in 10 laps, you put a second on the second-place car. Right? I did carry the 1 correctly in that. And, you know, that's the kind of pace that Kyle has had in practice and in qualifying through the weekend, and obviously in the race so far. Of course, Kyle has started in the #1 spot on prior occasions here at Phoenix and done a lot of leading. Most of the time it's worked out. Even had one in there where he had to overcome some problems to go to victory lane. Had one race here where he led all 200 laps and scored the win after starting on the pole. So
Yeah, this is just an incredible program. Obviously, Kyle Busch is very talented, but at Joe Gibbs Racing, they put such an effort into these cars, and now they have all 4 of them running well. It's just amazing the effort that's put forth at Joe Gibbs Racing. There's the other, the 4th one, Elliott Sadler there in the 11 car, Jimmy Johnson.
You know, I talked with Elliott briefly yesterday in the garage area between the 2 practice sessions, and he said, you know, there's just so much I have to adjust to. It's not just jumping out of a Richard Childress car and jumping into a Joe Gibbs car, as I've done this year. He said steering boxes, the way things are in the car, everything is new. So I'm not exactly sure. The question I asked him was if he could feel any difference in the tire they brought for this race than what they had here last year. He said, I have no idea because there's so many other things I'm trying to figure out. Dave, right now, Elliott is back in 10th spot.
And interestingly, Alan, both of the drivers I'm covering from Joe Gibbs Racing, Matt Kenseth and Elliott Sadler, are talking about similar issues, about being either too high up on the right rear or too stiff to the right rear. So both of those drivers are brand new to these race cars, and both of them are experiencing similar things. They're things they'll adjust to, as the veterans would do, but as Matt works traffic here, he's getting a challenge from Kyle.
Yep, Alex Bowman back on the track in that 99 after wreck repairs involved in the early skirmish. 79 car. Jeffrey Earnhardt. Take him high, take him low, and we'll race for the lead right through it.
Yeah, Kyle showed a lot of pace. He had an opportunity there to probably press the issue. No need in doing that here. Not even 90 laps into this race yet. He knows he has by far the best race car out here.
Remember a time here at Phoenix where you had a car like that on the Sprint Cup side?
Yeah, it was fun. I'll tell you, you get a good one. This is always a challenging racetrack. Of course, they've reconfigured the track, but it's basically still a lot the same, and we're seeing this track get more like what they had before because you can see that it's lightened up. There's not nearly the grip out there. Even though they've got a softer tires, Kyle's going to try to make this pass on the high side. I don't think Matt's going to give him much trouble. Going to pull over and let him go. It's just a fun racetrack as a driver to try to negotiate.
Well, what'd you get, 2 laps down in that race?
Got just over a lap down and made that up under green.
Made a green flag pit stop, caution came out, got the lap back, and then went all the way through the field, took the lead, took the win. It's all right, if you won't brag on you, I will. So Kyle Busch from 23rd back to the lead after the problem on the pit stop back at lap number 40. And we remind you, as you watch our NASCAR Nationwide Series coverage from Phoenix, presented by Kawasaki, that you can check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy and watch all the coverage from Phoenix, including HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard at NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Just to the south and west of downtown Phoenix is the Phoenix International Raceway, where today's Dollar General 200, fueled by AmeriGas, reaches its midway point in just a couple more laps. Story of the race so far, Kyle Busch in a dominant performance. Kyle started on pole position, led the opening 40 laps, had a problem on a pit stop at lap 40, went all the way back to 23rd in line, and in some 45 laps raced his way back to the #1 spot, and you see the gap he's pulled on second place, Matt Kenseth. Brad Keselowski is 3rd. Brian Vickers 4th. Great run for Justin Allgaier in that 31, running 5th.
Yeah, watching his lap times, he was really solid today. His Turner Motorsports team, they put together some good cars, and Justin's got, right now, the best Turner car on the track.
So there are your top 5. We go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and check in on some of the runners from 6th position on back. It's Kevin Harvick that's running 6th, Doc.
Thank you, Alan. And 6th place driver Kevin Harvick's only pit stop of the day came on lap 40. They came in and changed 2 right side tires, made a track bar adjustment trying to help the car that was very loose. Problem is the car was looser after the pit stop than before. Kevin says the car is literally sideways and hard to drive. Desperately needs tires and a chassis adjustment. Dave.
Regan Smith has lost 1 spot since the restart. His car is still a little bit tight at both ends of the racetrack. They took 2 left side tires on the first pit stop, and he's been dialing in some front brake to try to help that car turn. Now, Elliott Sadler, we talked about all the changes for him at Joe Gibbs Racing, but 3 crew chiefs and 3 different teams in 3 years in Nationwide. Chris Gale is the latest of those. A rookie crew chief on this circuit. They're working together really for the first time in what we've been calling the regular season, and they're trying to get to know each other. Again, that stiff on the right rear end of the car is really what has been bothering Elliott with his race car today.
And Dave, running in 9th is that young man, number 32, Kyle Larson, the rookie. In fact, just his first ever Nationwide Series race here at Phoenix after his debut last week at Daytona. Had a really solid run last week, following it up with another top 10 run here today. Said the car's been really tight in 3 and 4. That's what they've been fighting mostly today, but it's better since they made a wedge adjustment during that first pit stop. As you see the 5 of Jimmy Johnson go inside of Larson. They've had a nice battle today. The 5-time Sprint Cup champion Jimmy Johnson, he's also been battling a car in 3 and 4. It's just been a little bit too tight down there, but he says it's getting better as he goes. A lot of power on top of that 5 box today with Chad Knaus and Casey Kane both looking on. Doc?
And back behind him in 11th spot is Trevor Bayne, driving the same car that last year's champion Ricky Stenhouse drove here in both events a year ago. Now Trevor pitted on lap 40, came in 5th, came out 10th because they changed 4 tires. He's dropped back to 12th, has now gained a spot, but still very tight in the middle of the corner. Alan?
All right, Doc, thanks. So look back a little deeper into the field as we watch Brad Keselowski and, oh, trouble, Kevin Harvick into the outside wall. And the caution is out.
Sore battery, guys. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm fine.
You heard the update from Doc on Harvick just a minute ago. And you heard from Kevin on the radio that he's fine, but into the wall hard in that 33 car.
Yeah, you could get it. You could hear that in Kevin's voice.
Be going to the garage from a tow truck. It won't move. I mean, it freaking killed it. Steering column's twisted.
Like a right front tire went down. Wow, that is a pretty hard lick.
Yeah, it's wide open in the gas at that point.
Outside corner. Clear. Got the wall here, boys. Got the wall. Right front tire blew.
Well, good to see Kevin getting out of that after that hard hit. Exiting the corner. Don't see that often here at Phoenix. A lot of times when you're going to see one of those, it's going to be going into one. Pit road open, and here come the leaders, Dave.
Matt Kenseth's stream is going to give him 4 tires. He needs it to be turning a little bit better in the middle, but tightened up a little bit going into the corner. Track bar and wedge adjustment planned. As for Regan Smith, he's going to get a chassis adjustment as well. His car's still a little bit tight. They're going to make a 4-tire stop on the 7 car. Jamie?
Brad Keselowski, the best the car has been all weekend long. He says a bit free in, a little tight in the center. Track bar adjustment. They'll go up on that. Air pressure adjustment as well. 4 tires. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch, who fought his way all the way back to the front, he wants help turning a little bit. Wipe the grill. 4 tires. They filled it up. It's a clean out. Your leader, Kyle Busch.
You will see Sam Hornish Jr.'s number come up in that 6th position. Right side tires on that 12 car. Trying to get a little track position back after their involvement in the lap 2 crash earlier in this race.
Springtime.
The NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC features a cast of all-stars tomorrow at one, a rivalry in the East. LeBron James and the Heat go to Madison Square Garden to battle Carmelo and the Knicks. Then at 3:30, a showdown in the West. Kevin Durant leads the Thunder against Chris Paul and the Clippers. The NBA Sunday Showcase coverage tips off with Kia NBA Countdown at 12:30. Then Heat Knicks at 1, Thunder Clippers at 3:30 tomorrow on ABC. I have it on good sources that the Atlanta Hawks were staying at our hotel here in Phoenix for their game against the Suns last night. And while we await the cleanup, let's check in with our ESPN in-race reporter, Sam Hornish Jr., back up to 6th.
Sam, Dale Jarrett, you with us?
Yeah, 10-4.
Hey, I know things got off kind of a rough start for you, but how's your car since that?
The first run directly after that was pretty good. Made a few changes last run that didn't really help us out much, so we decided to try to go back a little bit, also to do 2 tires, and we'll see how it plays out for us. So we're just trying to get a little bit of track position to make sure that we keep the car clean. And you know, when you do these 2 tire stops, it's all biggest thing is about ending up better than you were when you started.
Hey Sam, we're seeing a lot of cars sliding around. This racetrack, even though this is just the 4th race since the reconfiguration, lost a lot of the grip it had.
Yeah, you know, this new tire has a lot more grip than what we had last year. And today it was the first time that we've really slid around as much as we have. So, you know, just a little bit hotter temperatures, things like that, not having, you know, multiple stops. But I think that, you know, it's going to continue to lose grip. And that's just going to make more and more of this happen.
All right, thanks for talking. Good luck.
Thank you.
Sam Hornish, our ESPN race reporter, recovering nicely from being involved in the lap 2 crash to be running 6th right now. His Penske teammate Brad Keselowski is getting ready to restart on the outside of row 2.
Save for me. We're about, just save for me. How about that? F4.
I didn't want to give away how many laps he needed to save, did he?
That was when he was exiting the pit, so maybe he hadn't quite done all the calculations yet either.
As a driver, you kind of need to know how much you need to save, though.
Yeah. Jeremy Bullen's there, the crew chief. We're going to restart here with 92 laps to go. And obviously that comes to be a factor if this race were to run green from here to the finish. Somehow I'm not counting on that.
Not buying that either.
Yeah. Free pass to Eric McClure back on the lead lap with this yellow flag. Eric running in 18th spot. And it's Kyle Busch with Brian Vickers to his outside, 54 and 20. As we get set to go back at it with 92 laps to go. Sorting it out in front of the field. The Joe Gibbs Racing cars, 1, 2, and 3. Kyle Busch, Brian Vickers, Matt Kenseth, Keselowski, Shibbs, and fourth. And Hornish goes around off turn number 2 in a cloud of smoke.
We're coming toward you. Good save.
And everybody gets away with it, including Sam. Caution quickly back out. Remember, Hornish took just right side tires on that last pit stop to try and gain some track position.
I was wondering how that might work. He had a lot of laps on those left sides.
Yeah, he drove it pretty hard down into turn 1. Yeah, he drove it down hard into turn 1. He had Kyle Larson right behind him. He was trying to stay ahead of this group, and you see he just got a little too high. Larson does a good job not to hit him.
Yeah, Trevor Bayne got into the wall. That 6 car's got some damage too.
Austin Dillon making a good move to avoid him.
So yellow flag number 5 is out as we keep an eye on Sam Hornish Jr., who has had a challenging day so far here at Phoenix.
Yeah, I was watching Sam, and just like you, Dale, I was wondering how those tires were going to work. So I watched him drive down into turn 1. Actually pretty hard to create a little bit of space on the cars he was racing. Now we know he was going a little too fast.
Trevor Bayne coming in. There's a look at that right side, DJ.
And not a lot of body damage, but he definitely hit the wall. Right along with him here.
Roll with the 11 back there. Keep coming. Good. Good job.
I get it. So caution back out for the 5th time here at Phoenix. A couple of championship hopefuls with some troubles. Back as the pace car hits pit lane. Let's try this restart thing again. Kyle Busch, Brian Vickers, the black and the yellow cars with what'll be 87 to go. And a jam up in line. Like Regan Smith in the 7 might have spun his tires. Everybody got away with it.
Yeah, Elliott Sadler may have been biting there, but he gave that spot back, so everything should be okay in NASCAR's eyes there. Ron Vickers once again doing a nice job from that outside spot, not to give up the 2nd spot. He's not trying to get the lead, I don't think, on those restarts. He just doesn't want to give up any more position.
Look at Kyle Larson making it 3 wide under his teammate Justin Allgaier.
32 cars Larson, Brian Scott in the 2, Allgaier in the 31. At 6th, 7th, and 8th. While that sorts out, Kevin Harvick, involved in a hard crash a few laps ago, has come from the Infield Medical Center. Let's check in there with Doc.
Yeah, first of all, Kevin, hard lick. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Obviously, it's not the way you want to end your day, but car had run really good the last 10 laps there, and Ran some good times. We were way too loose at the beginning of the runs and lost a couple spots, but tire just blew with really no warning there.
All right, glad you're okay. Kevin Harvick out of it here at early day at Phoenix. Alan?
All right, Doc, and Kevin back aboard tomorrow for the NASCAR Sprint Cup race. 51 car up out of the groove. Ryan Sieg.
Sure your tires clean.
That is normally the Jeremy Clements machine. Sieg with the late call to sub for Clements in that car after Clements' suspension by NASCAR earlier this week. We stay green. So on the last restart, we saw that big shuffle of traffic back in line. You don't often get away with that here at Phoenix without somebody losing the nose of their car.
Yeah, and it seems like we see this all the time here at Phoenix. I don't know why, but we, it's like I don't know if these restarts with hot tires, they pick up a lot of debris on them that they just can't get the track.
That, and it's so flat right there, and you're anticipating. And as you said, we see it all the time. So you think drivers would give each other a little bit more room, but really having a hard time getting going there. Elliott Sadler doing a great job of not making that worse than what it was.
And that was on board Parker Kligerman's car. He did a nice job too.
Brian Vickers doing a nice job of keeping Kyle Busch in his sights here.
Well, this is the first run now that since we saw the 54 take 4 tires, the first caution, where a lot of these guys just took 2. Now they're kind of on even tires. Brian Vickers has 4 tires as well.
Jimmy Johnson losing a spot. Justin Allgaier by him for 5th. Kyle Larson, 32, looking inside of Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson got some spots on that restart there. It doesn't look like his car is quite as good as what these Turner cars are. We talked about Justin Allgaier earlier, and here's Kyle Larson doing a nice job trying to pass the 5-time Sprint Cup champion, Jimmy Johnson.
They were talking about cars that had short run setups and long run setups. It looked like Johnson's car was pretty decent in that long run. He was able to get around Larson and kind of start going to the front, but the caution came out.
Jimmy's car's not going to look so pretty right here, as we see what put him back into the throes of that fight with Kyle Larson.
Oh, wow.
Justin Allgaier getting by in the 31, and Jimmy needing a second to regroup.
You can almost see that left rear tire chattering.
Yeah, that gets your attention in a hurry.
And this is what is so great about this Nationwide Series. Here's a 5-time Sprint Cup champ, won some reps on this racetrack, so he has the ability to drop back if he's got a ride and run this race. And here's Kyle Larson, a young kid in his 2nd ever Nationwide Series race, out there with a chance to go wheel to wheel and bumper to bumper with Jimmy Johnson and see how he stacks up and maybe even learn a thing or two.
Yeah, if you're wanting to learn, which is what you're doing if you're Kyle Larson in this type situation, there's nobody better to learn from than a 5-time champion.
6 Bain, 3 Dillon, fighting for a spot, certainly farther back in the field than we expected either one of them to be today.
I've really been surprised with this 3 car. I expected to see a lot more out of him. We're accustomed to watching him run up around the top 5, if not battling for wins.
Of course, Trevor Bayne made a pit stop after that close call when Sam Hornish spun a minute ago, trying to regain some of that track position. There's an interesting pass. Elliott Sadler this year in the 11, passing Brian Scott in the 2. They had the opposite ride last year. Scott was in the 11, Sadler was in the 2. As you're behind the wheel, does that ever cross your mind?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you say that it doesn't, yeah. At the appropriate times.
Yeah. Justin Allgaier continuing with a nice run today, just past Matt Kenseth. That 18 car seeming to fade a bit. Dave, any news there on why he might be fading some?
Alan, Matt is making a dire prediction. He says we're going to finish about 8th here. The car is looser in. It's tighter in the middle. Whatever adjustments they made appear to have gone in the wrong direction as far as the driver is concerned. And so right now he's been passed by a couple of cars since the restart.
As a driver, there's not a much worse combination than loose in and tight in the center.
And one of the hardest things to fix.
Well, that's the challenge for Matt Kenseth and his team. if they get another shot on pit road in the final 75
We may
laps.
have a flat, man. I don't know. I can't believe we could screw up this bad. There might be a flat front tire. So be ready.
Or that's a possibility.
And they're not fun to drive with that either.
Matt talking to Matt there. Matt Kenseth and Matt Lucas. Jimmy Johnson 5, Kyle Larson 32, continuing this fight for 6th place.
Now Larson's worked him hard. Seems like every time he gets beside him, he gets just a little bit loose and can't complete that pass. He's able to now down into 3. Car could get really loose right here.
Like that? And Regan Smith in the 7 going to try and take advantage.
Yeah, it's going to cost Larson a spot or 2. And he was very respectful to Jimmy Johnson. He could have moved him in that position, but I think he's going to gain a whole lot more by showing respect to the 5-time champion. Lose a couple spots now, but that'll come back to him later.
And all of these things we've been showing and talking about, all going on while another constant remains. Kyle Busch in the lead of this race. Kyle out in front of Brian Vickers by 1.2 seconds, 72 laps to go. He was as low as 23rd after a pit penalty earlier in the race. Tonight, don't miss a Pac-12 battle as Mark Lyons and the Wildcats face a tough road test against Shabazz Muhammad and the Bruins. Saturday primetime, part of Bracket Builder Week, Arizona, UCLA. Tonight on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. Parker Kligerman is on pit road with some damage, as you see to the right side of that machine. A little race for position gone wrong a couple of laps ago. It was 13th place. He was racing Eric Almirola for. And that was the result.
Yeah, we've just seen the second groove here not have a lot of grip, especially when you try to get down into the corner. I don't believe there was any contact there. Vince, a lot of damage on that 77.
Well, and this is an issue, frankly, we could see coming because Parker Kligerman had been talking about how loose on entry the car was and the fact that the brakes in the right front were chattering so bad. At one point, he said, it's really hard to race it like this. I'm going to just think big picture. Shortly thereafter, he was in the wall.
And now Kligerman finds himself 2 laps down in 24th place. I was going to go with that line about sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug when I saw that thing hit the camera lens, but I'll let that go. Or maybe I won't.
Almost let it go.
Race for 3rd here. 22, Brad Keselowski, and 31, Justin Allgaier, who continues to have a solid day for the Turner Scott team with that Chevy Camaro.
Allgaier is really looking good. This car doesn't seem to be quite as fast on these restarts as some others, but once it gets some laps on the tires, it really carries a lot of speed. What are they saying about this car, Jamie?
Exactly, DJ. They're saying it's getting better the longer the run goes. Now, their plan right now in the 31 camp, go as hard as they can. Don't give up any track position. We're going to have to pit one more time regardless. And meanwhile, right ahead of him, Brad Keselowski, they are on fuel conservation mode right now. So watch that 31 to come on and make it to the front as quickly as he can.
An interesting thing there, Jamie. We went back racing with 92 to go just after everybody had pitted. They all stopped with 97 to go. Then we quickly had a caution, went back racing with 87 laps to go. The past numbers tell us we're going to see another yellow flag or 2 in this race. In fact, the past numbers tell us that more than in any other track in the Nationwide Series, you get a green-white checker finish here at Phoenix. More than most.
Yeah, we heard, we saw where Kevin Harvick blew that right front tire because his car wasn't handling right. He's having to use the brakes more probably than he wanted to get it slowed down. And I've seen that with this new tire, it seems like a lot of cars are loose in. We've heard that loose in tight in the middle. And so there's probably a lot of guys out there that are overworking those brakes. And when that happens, sometimes you'd be looking for another caution after they've run a pretty good long run.
Lap traffic there, 00, Jason White. will clear White, and Allgaier will continue to stalk Keselowski. Just joining us, headline of the day, Kyle Busch started on pole, had a problem on a pit stop, went back to 23rd, charged back to the front in 45 laps, and he's out in front of this one. 3/4 of the way through today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race in Phoenix. Kyle Busch's day, it's been eventful. Started on the pole after winning the pole by 0.2 of a second over the second place car, and then things went wrong.
Yeah, they changed pit stalls on him actually when they went back to this 40-car field. He slid through his because he thought he was going into that next stall. Didn't slow him down long.
Went back to 23rd and 45 laps. He was in the lead. Sam Hornish Jr., championship leader starting today, only took 2 laps for his race to go sideways.
Yeah, and he fixed the car. They came in and made some repairs. You can see the front end got torn up. Went back out, made up some spots, and rolled the dice on a pit stop and kind of got behind on that because he brought out another caution.
Took just 2 tires to get some track position, got up to 6th place, and then right after that pit stop, this happened. And they've had to work to recover from that some, and Sam is running in 14th place now. So when you look back at the drivers who came out of Daytona in good shape, who are going to contend for the championship, here's where they're running at Phoenix today. You've got Allgaier now, who's having a very solid day in 4th position on the racetrack. Brian Scott is running in 10th place. You saw the story on Hornish in his day, and Brian Vickers running in 2nd as the yellow flag waves. Kyle Larson.
Barely with the right rear is nothing, Trent. Nothing. All right, just get caught up here. The pit rope is going to be 2 tires, guys. Right side's an adjustment.
Has apparently gotten into the wall in that 32 car. Let's see what it looks like.
You can see once again getting a little loose there in the center of the corner. Make a little contact here.
If he did, it was light contact. Does a good job, really. There in all the marbles.
Ever so slightly.
Yeah, that's the kind of things this young man will have to learn as with these cars and the tires and different racetracks that he goes to, just how hard you can continue to charge after you get a lot of laps on the tires, fuel getting out of the car, just how it's going to react and how hard you can continue to drive.
Yeah, he kind of got away with that one, though.
Yeah.
Make very hard contact, brought the caution out, come in and work on the car.
Was running in 9th place. Remember we talked earlier about the importance of the pit crews? Here it comes. 48 laps to go. Not everybody is pitted. Let's check on those who did.
Elliott Sadler picked up 3 spots to 6th. They're going to take on right side tires, bottom left of your screen there. Matt Kenseth had been talking about 4. His car had come around a little bit. He talked about wanting 4. Yes, they are going to take 4 tires on the 18. They'd fallen back to 5th. Jamie?
Brian Vickers and Kyle Busch both welcome this caution. They could not make it on fuel. Right side is the call. No adjustments for Brian Vickers. He's down and away. Kyle Busch has officially led over 11,000 laps in nationwide racing. He is down and away.
Very, very interesting. Matt Kenseth gets 4 tires. Drops back to 10th place. Brad Keselowski does not pit. Remember, they told him to save fuel last stop. The NASCAR Nationwide Series under caution at Phoenix. Our telecast today presented by Kawasaki, and we invite you to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Got a little bit different picture to inform you of at the moment. Top 4 on the racetrack did not pit under the yellow. Brad Keselowski, Trevor Bayne, Aric Almirola, and Sam Hornish Jr. have stayed out. That's when they were last in and what they did on the pit stop.
Yeah, you can see that we've got their next pit stop based on an average for a fuel run. We can see that it's 17 laps short for Brad Keselowski, but they have been saving fuel, and they obviously are getting better mileage than the average, too.
1 to go here, Jamie.
Well, Jeremy Bullins, the crew chief, he made the call. First of all, can you guys make it on fuel? And second of all, are those tires going to hold up against his company around him?
Well, we feel like we can make it on fuel. Our discount tire Ford Mustang's been getting good fuel mileage all day. As far as the tire thing goes, we figured our only chance to beat them was to get ahead of them. They've been strong all day. We feel like our car's been better on a long run. It's the best shot we got to win the race. So we're going to roll the dice and see what happens.
Brad Keselowski said they were going to do just that today. Let's watch, Alan.
All right, Jamie, thanks. So Kyle Busch first off the pit lane. They just changed 2 tires on his stop. And there you see Kyle. And where he'll line up for the restart. He'll be the one to watch as Keselowski and the others try to hold on while he tries to charge forward.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch those guys, those 4 in front of him that have hotter tires, especially on this restart. We've seen what happened a couple of times already.
Yeah, with Sam Hornish, we saw him on a restart with no tires spin. He's up there again.
44 laps to go. Let's see what this little twist results in. Three wide for Kyle.
Still 3 wide.
And he clears them both into turn 3.
You have to have a good car to do that. I really liked what I saw with Kyle Busch. We talked about how dangerous that is and having to slow down, not having that angle of attack going into 3. But he used the apron there to let his car roll on and not slow down and make sure that he didn't get hit from behind.
So Kyle up to 3rd. Vickers gets 4th. Almirola shuffled back to 5th.
Brad Keselowski is one of the best to leave out there on tires. He can make the most of it, take that clean air and do the most with it. But today, he's got a tough task ahead of him if he's going to try to outrun Kyle Busch with the car he's had.
During the commercial break, we heard radio traffic between Brad Keselowski and Jeremy Bullins replayed back to us about the decision to pit or not pit. And Jeremy asked Brad, do you want the clean air? And Brad said, I like clean air. You've got it. Now you got to make it work.
Yeah, and the reason he asked that, the crew chief wants to make sure he wants to stay out also, but he wants a driver that's buying into the plan. And if he's got a guy that's ready to do that, then he's more than willing to make that call.
Here's 5th place, Austin Dillon 3, Sam Hornish 12. Documented Sam's day earlier. Dillon fell back into the field, just took no tires on this pit stop, a little fuel to try and get some of his track position back.
That can be a tough strategy as a driver. You've got tires that you've run, they're hot, they've got a little wear on them, then you're filling up with fuel. Makes the car drive a little bit on the loose side most of the time.
Here's Kyle after Trevor Bayne for 2nd. Again, that shortcut across the backstretch dogleg. And he's up to the runner-up spot and still got a lot of laps left.
Impressed with Trevor Bayne here in that 6 car. There you see Brian Vickers in the 20. He's trying to make his way back, but Trevor Bayne, real nice job. He got into the wall a little bit. It really put him in a position to come in, check everything out, get tires back on this car. But he was struggling just outside the top 10 for most of the time, but this car looks really solid right now.
I talked to him down there yesterday between practice sessions. He said that what they've got to do, since they have this hole they've dug from Daytona, is have solid finishes for the next few weeks. There's no holding back Kyle Busch today.
Back to the lead. Keselowski looks to the crossover. He's got a fender. Now he'll try the shortcut.
Tough position right there as that car is getting loose arrow-wise down into the corner. Now Kyle's going to make the pass.
Elliott Sadler, 11. Austin Dillon, 3.
Now Sadler's another one of those cars. It looks like it doesn't go all that good on the restart, but you get 5 or 6 laps on the tires, and he starts moving forward then.
Jimmy Johnson, 5. 2, Brian Scott. 32, Kyle Larson. 12th, 13th, 14th. Larson's car looking none the worse for wear after sliding up ever so lightly into the wall.
Yeah, you haven't seen very many people try to make a pass on the outside, and most of the ones we've seen do it have been veterans of this. But watch Kyle Larson. He hasn't minded, especially on these restarts and things, and right there was able to go on the outside of Brian Scott and make the pass.
Justin Allgaier trying to regain track position lost by those who did not pit, like Sam Hornish in the 12. 31 car up another spot. That'll put Justin to 5th. What of Matt Kenseth? Got 4 tires on that last pit stop. Remember, he'd been sliding back, so they did all 4 tires because they had to do something to make that race car go better. Now he's trying to regain some of that lost ground.
Now Larson trying to pass Jimmy Johnson once again. We've seen him try this a number of times. Jimmy Johnson's battling a really loose race car, it looks like. Kyle Larson going to make this pass this time.
And so Larson up to 12th and Jimmy Johnson back to 13th, Vince.
What's been interesting is we have seen these two run around one another all day long, and for the most part they've kind of been fighting the same thing. Larson has been fighting a free everywhere race car. Jimmy Johnson has been fighting a car that is a little bit too free. He can't get the power down coming off, especially turn 4. So we've seen those guys run up next to one another, but neither one of them have enough to get past the other one. They were both thankful for that last yellow to be able to come in and get chassis adjustments, and you just saw Larson finally make the move past 5-time Cup champ Jimmy Johnson.
So Kyle Larson, they're running in 12th, Jimmy Johnson 13th. All going on well behind Kyle Busch, who's led 111 of the 169 laps that have been run today. Rowdy has been dominant so far. Still got 31 laps to go.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Phoenix, presented by Kawasaki and the off-road rated TRX 4, and in part by Rent-A-Center. With our Rack Flex plan, you can get 90 days same as cash with no credit needed. And True Biotics, a daily probiotic for the makers of One A Day.
Well, the latest twist in the story here at Phoenix has put us under the yellow flag. We check on these pit stops, Dave.
Regan Smith's car was, in his words, unbelievably unreal loose. You've got to do something, bring that track bar down, and a 4-tire change, Vince.
Well, and you see Regan Smith leaving right next to Jimmy Johnson. Johnson loose all the way through. They made a 4-tire change and went down 2 rounds on the right rear track bar.
And the yellow flag waving because Brian Vickers, one of the championship hopefuls in the Gibbs 20. You see he's got some fender damage. He's got some fender damage on the other side of the car, too. He was racing Trevor Bayne for 3rd position off of turn number 2 when it went wrong.
They were coming up on Mike Harmon in the 74. A couple of slow cars. See Trevor Bayne goes to the outside. Looks like Harmon doesn't know really which lane he wants to be in.
Yeah, but he stays down to the inside, but Vickers tries to kind of force the issue there in making it 3 wide. He had a run because the 6 of Trevor Bayne kind of had to dodge the 74 down there in the middle of 1 and 2 and slowed his progress a little bit. At this point, Harmon's, he could have given him a little bit more room there, but not much because he's getting right to the kind of the apex of that dog leg.
So, trouble there for Vickers, who again was running in 4th position and racing for 3rd, and by that shower of sparks, he's still got some problems with that 20 car that are going to need attended to as we get ready to run the final stretch of this race. While they check the track and get set for the restart, a reminder that the NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC features a cast of all-stars that won a rivalry in the East. LeBron James and the Heat go to Madison Square Garden to battle Carmelo Anthony and the Knicks. Then at 3:30, the showdown in the West, Kevin Durant leads the Thunder against Chris Paul and the Clippers. NBA Sunday Showcase coverage tips off with Kia NBA Countdown at 12:30. Then Heat Knicks at 1 and Thunder Clippers at 3:30, all tomorrow on ABC.
Did you see the pregame dunks LeBron put up?
Yeah. I think everybody knows Miami's the best in the East, but those two teams, the Clippers and Oklahoma City, battling for who's the best in the West.
Should be a fun afternoon of hoops. Getting ready to restart here. Brian Vickers back on the racetrack. Jamie?
Add insult to injury. He has damage to the race car. He pitted twice to fix the damage. They just told him you pitted too soon. He has has to go to the tail end of the longest line. Brian said, I'm sorry, guys, that was my fault. Didn't see it. My kid crew chief said, hey, we're all in this together.
So Brian going to restart 18th now with what will be 24 laps to go.
I don't think he had really real choice but to get to pit road there, because he continues around another lap. He's going to create more damage to underneath of that race car.
So doubled up. Kyle Busch with Brad Keselowski to his outside. Trevor Bayne, Justin Allgaier in row number 2. Elliott Sadler and Sam Hornish Jr. in row number 3, and so on. 18 cars on the lead lap, and we go green with 24 laps to go. Sometimes these restarts get a little crazy on this Phoenix front stretch.
Even a little worse because you got the sun in your eyes here as you get ready to start.
Good clean one there. There, Trevor Bayne in the 6. Looked like he got a little low going into that corner. Had to chase it up the track.
Yeah, a little low and a lot loose. See Sam Hornish able to wrestle that spot away from Elliott Sadler, who restarted on the inside. Good job by Sam Hornish.
He has fought hard today, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he looked like Elliott Sadler's got a run off of 2 on him.
Austin Dillon in the 3 there also. Hornish caught up in an accident just the second lap of the race. Knocked in the nose of that 12 car.
Boy, he's had to work for it. He's got track position now. I don't know if he can hold it or not, but they've had to work hard today.
It looked like he ran up to Elliott Sadler, carried a lot of speed down into the corner, but kind of lost the nose. That allowed Austin Dillon to get back up alongside him. See if he can make the pass this time.
Far, Hornish holding on, and he's got that 6th position for the moment, Dave.
Has not been complaining about his race car other than the old rubber, as now you see Dillon going by and challenging on the inside. Remember, he had 8 more laps to give in the fuel calculation. Wow, look at Almirola as he pitted on lap 111, did Sam Hornish. So it was 8 laps later than a lot of the other guys who stayed out.
I don't know about you, but I'm glad Almirola backed out of that, because that was going to get ugly.
Yeah, there was nothing good going to come of that sticky nose down in. Comes Matt Kenseth. He's got those 4 tires from 2 cautions ago.
Kenseth ran in the top 3 for a lot of this race. Then his car's handling went away, fell back into the field. They went for a 4-tire pit stop on their last visit to pit road. Restarted in 10th position, and he is trying to pick his way back forward. He's got his hands full still.
Yeah, still don't have this car very good for Matt Kenseth. Looks like it's extremely loose, which we've seen a lot of cars on the inside be very loose today.
Ryan Scott in the 2, the orange car. If you're still adjusting to the new faces and new places for the Nationwide Series this year. And I know we've talked about Kyle Busch a lot today, but that's not him in the 18. Kenseth, Scott, Regan Smith 7, Jimmy Johnson 5, number 7 and 5 on pit road under this most recent caution.
He pitted for 4 tires and also a track bar adjustment. Said his car's just been so loose, he hasn't been able to do anything with it today. Got a loose race car. That's a tough position to be in, too, trying to make that pass right on the bottom.
And again, Kyle Larson and Jimmy Johnson.
Here they go again. All the letters rubbed off the left rear tire of Kyle Larson's car. Had some contact somewhere.
Oh. That tire looked a little, just say it looked like it had a lot of flex in it there from that last camera shot off of turn 4. Hope that's not going down on him. just the illusion from the lettering all being rubbed off it.
He's racing hard, though.
Multiple choice here. Jimmy Johnson's going to get out of his car at the end of this race and say, man, it was fun racing with that kid, or man, that kid was pesky. Kenseth, Almirola. As Matt picks up another spot, move him up to 8th. Almirola back to 9th. Inside, outside. Eric McClure in the 14.
That might bring a caution out right there. It's a lot of smoke.
Stay right in the groove.
Get down, they're flagging you.
Stay green.
That's a shame after the great run McClure had to start his season at Daytona a week ago.
Yep, still inside the top 20 here, running 17th spot.
Whoa, that was close. The lap car of Alex Bowman involved in the lap 2 crash. Back on the track, trying to score some points. I'm going to say Jimmy's had enough here.
Yeah. Threw a block on.
Whoa, hold on here. I think Kyle Larson got lost his focus there. Jimmy made that block and they got down into turn 1.
Yeah, still another solid day for this young man. Follow NASCAR regularly. You've read and heard his name a lot leading into this season. And with good reason. You'll hear it a lot through the course of the season and well on into the future. Kyle Busch with a 1.2-second lead on Brad Keselowski. Justin Allgaier 3rd, Trevor Bayne 4th, Elliott Sadler 5th, Austin Dillon 6th. Here's the race for 7th as Matt Kenseth in that 18 tries to regain some of the track position lost with the 4-tire pit stop on the last visit to pit road.
Sam Hornish's car is actually not bad down in 3 and 4, but he seems to be struggling the most down in 1 and 2. The car washes up in the center. He just used up a lot of racetrack on the exit of the corner.
They got to give Greg Irwin and Sam a lot of credit for how they've really hung in there today under some pretty tough conditions.
Yeah, it could have been disastrous to them. I mean, a couple of different times. So you give Sam credit. He's done a terrific job. They've repaired this car nicely, and by staying out there, got some track position, and he's holding himself well in the top 10 right now.
So there's the man who's been the story of the day so far, Kyle Busch. And the gap he has on 2nd place, Brad Keselowski. Solid run for Justin Allgaier in that bright orange, red, whatever you want to call it, 31 car. Colors were never my specialty.
There's no doubt he's been solid all day long. The car just continues to get better on these longer runs, and Trevor Bayne doing, again, a nice job after a little scrape with the wall and avoiding Sam Hornish earlier.
Lost some track position, and they stayed out under the last yellow, hoping he has fuel to the finish. You saw Elliott Sadler go through in 5th. There's Austin Dillon, another one who slipped back and has regained some of the track position.
And we're now inside 7 laps to go. Brad Keselowski was the one that we thought probably the closest on fuel. He's running 2nd. We'll see if he's got enough to finish.
Hornish and Kenseth continue that race for 6th and 7th. With Eric Almirola right behind them, subbing for Michael Annett in the Richard Petty Motorsports 43. Annett recovering from the fractured and dislocated sternum and the surgery to repair same that he underwent earlier this week. Glad to hear that Michael is on the mend and look forward to seeing him back at the racetrack as soon as possible. Brian Scott in the 2. Regan Smith in the 7. Your top 11. And Kyle Busch set off last year to do something different. Wanted to build a race team of his own. Drove it in the NASCAR Nationwide Series in a majority of the schedule. Went through the year having opportunities to win. The car won with brother Kurt behind the wheel at Richmond. but victories just eluded Kyle, sometimes in frustrating and disappointing ways. This season decided to partner back up with Joe Gibbs Racing for the nationwide effort, an effort that is also boosting his Kyle Busch Motorsports team, both under the hood and technologically.
I think that it really highlights that even though you can be talented like Kyle, it takes a combination. You have to have a good combination of team and equipment to be able to get those wins. And I think Kyle kind of learned that last year, that it's not as easy as just having a lot of talent going out here and winning these races. You've got to have a really solid team.
Yeah, and you know that it had to affect Kyle Busch as he went along, barely missing the chase then Richmond in the last race before the cutoff. You know, mentally, it does work on you there. So I think that they accomplished a lot with this. It helped Kyle Busch and his nationwide race team, helps him as a driver, and helps him mentally be prepared for tomorrow and on these weekends where they race twice.
Dave Rogers has made no bones about the fact that he thinks it helps his Sprint Cup program with Kyle as well. They'll start 4th tomorrow in the Cup race here at Phoenix. What a performance this has been today. If you weren't with us earlier, Kyle started on the pole, led the first 40 laps, then missed his pit stall going down the pit lane, overshot it because of a change in the way the pit stalls are assigned this year. They don't use that first pit stall, had to back up, then was penalized for speeding, went back to 23rd, and in 45 laps went back to the lead, got shuffled back again when others didn't pit on that last caution, and again worked his way from 5th back to the front. The second longest dry spell of his career in the Nationwide Series is over. Kyle Busch wins at Phoenix.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, man. Come here, me team.
And right to the finish, Kyle Larson and Jimmy Johnson. Well, 142 of 200 laps led today.
Well, the world's back to normal. Kyle Busch wins a nationwide race.
Yep. The all-time leading winner, all-time lap leader in the series. Leads the most in wins today. September 2011. The last time Kyle Busch went to victory lane in this nationwide series. He's done it today. And a well-deserved bow today for Kyle and his entire team. After they dominated Phoenix, they'll be celebrating in victory lane shortly. We'll talk with Kyle and some of the other top finishers as we come back for post-race in Phoenix. You thought you saw Kyle Busch's burnout before the commercial. He lit him up again, all the way up and down the front straightaway. And now the winner today in Phoenix has made his way to victory lane.
Hard to believe it has been 18 months, Kyle, since you've been to Victory Lane. Now listen, last year we all watched you. You tried so hard to win, to get here in your own equipment. It didn't happen. What is it like being back here with your Joe Gibbs team?
It feels awesome. I mean, I wish everything in the world that we could have gotten it done with all my guys at Kyle Busch Motorsports, but can't say enough about Joe Gibbs Racing, all these guys on his team. I mean, they do a phenomenal job. It all pays off. We see it. We've seen it in the Nationwide Series for years, and I can't say enough about Monster Energy. You know, these guys are awesome. They stuck with us through last year and everything, and had a trying time, but we're here. We're here in Victory Lane now, so it's all sweet and fun right now, but can't say enough. Thank Rodney, Hilton, and Mark, all the guys there, and Toyota. Of course, Mark Cronquist for building these JGR engines. They're awesome, and appreciate Butler Seats keeping me comfortable, and it's fun to always come out here and win in the Nationwide Series, get us warmed up a little bit for tomorrow.
All right, your wife, Samantha, walks into Victory Lane, and Kyle Busch is in Victory Lane for the 5th time in the Nationwide Series.
The spoils of victory, and Kyle starting on the outside of row number 2 for that NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here tomorrow in Phoenix. And next week, it's on to Las Vegas for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. That super fast mile-and-a-half track. We'll be on the air Saturday at 4 Eastern on ESPN2. Our telecast presented by Kawasaki. And we'll see who is the fastest of the fast next weekend in Vegas. Here's how they ran today in Phoenix in race 2 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series season. Kyle Busch, your winner, his 52nd victory in the Nationwide Series.
Yeah, Justin Allgaier doing a great job. Trevor Bayne, Elliott Sadler, Austin Dillon, all the people that are looking to battle for this championship.
Yeah, the point leader coming in, Sam Hornish, had a lot of problems, but still ended up in the top 10 and 7.
And next weekend it's on to Vegas, then the short track in Bristol, out to Southern California, and then Texas and Richmond in April. Join us at the track. NASCAR.com/tickets. A lot of great venues to open this season for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Well, we knew when Kyle Busch said he was teaming back up with Joe Gibbs Racing for the Nationwide Series this year, that was going to be a hard combination to beat. All the races Joey Logano won last year for them. He's back in Victory Lane just 2 races into the year.
Yeah, Joe Gibbs has really got a stacked field with there's talent in those cars, and I think it's a sign for them to have a good shot at this championship with his other team.
Yeah, but we're going to have a great points battle. It's kind of shaping up now. We're seeing what's going to happen. Brian Vickers, a little problem there today, but he'll be right in the mix too. But great race by Kyle Busch, no doubt.
4 Eastern, ESPN2 next Saturday from Las Vegas. And up next, college basketball. K-State and Baylor from Waco. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Kyle Busch, your winner at Phoenix.